So in this video, I want to talk to you about how we can possibly solve the replication crisis. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Dave Maslach. I'm an Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There are so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for to help you out. Actually, that was a big reason why I actually started the reciprocity project, is to be able to do randomized controlled trials that are available online for different researchers. If you want to help out with this project and you really think that this would be worthwhile, please go buy some credits on the reciprocity on the actual platform, the software. It's you can get editing for your work done for very inexpensive amounts. And there's a lot of different features that I'm building into that. And then in the background, what I'm hopefully going to do, or hopefully the goal, is to open it up to allow different researchers to be able to do randomized controlled trials on that. And I think that would be really cool and exciting to be able to do this. So if you want to actually participate on either side of helping out with the project, go buy credits. And then if you're a researcher and you really want to help out, please do shoot me an email. And maybe we can do some sort of, you could do an experiment on it. Okay, so how do you actually solve the replication crisis? And, to me, the replication crisis has a lot of different things that are going on there. And a lot of it has to do with sort of the cultural norms that are happening in science and what we sort of think about doing things. So what is the replication crisis? So I teach a research methods course at my institution. I've taught sort of various different components of research methods and stuff like that. And to me, what is going on there is that in science, we're supposed to replicate our work or have our work be able to be replicated by somebody else. And, over the last few years, but the last decade, various scholars in different domains have shown that it's very difficult to replicate some of this work. And many of it, much of the work we're not able to replicate some of the stuff. So, there has been a kind of a kerfuffle about it. And lots of people are sort of concerned about this, that we can't replicate our findings. And that's actually a really important thing to consider in terms of what is going on. But to me, the replication crisis is really a symptom of several things. And, the first one is there's a lack of transparency in terms of what's going on, and making sure that we are being more transparent with what we're actually doing. So part of the reason is because we have page constraints in the journal articles that we have. And those are artificial in terms of how much we can write about these kind of things. And the other thing is that's not being shown is the amount of work that goes on in terms of responding to reviewers and stuff like that. Often the responses to reviewers with articles that we write are much longer than the actual articles themselves. And we're going through all these details, and that's not ever presented. So if we can have more transparency in the system, being more open with some of these things, I think it's going to be very helpful to actually alleviate some of the replication crisis that's going on. Another thing that is happening is kind of a second thing, is just a simple lack of precision in terms of, what are we actually doing in each step? And it's really hard to get precision. So there is a trade-off that we actually have with all scientific articles, is the precision that we actually need to talk about different things, but at the same time, the sort of boringness that happens, so the storytelling component, the narrative component of each article. And if we do more precision, then the storytelling kind of goes out the window, and the narrative component of it goes out the window, and then we have this sort of boring article that nobody's ever going to read, right? So we have to balance the sort of interestingness that we require in order to actually have an article that people are going to read, or that will actually get through the review process. So that trade-off of precision and greater details, but also that narrative component of it, I think that's what's driving a huge component of what's going on. And then another thing is just a simple lack of humility in terms of, being more humble with our research, right? We're always looking for something that is more interesting, more sort of breakthrough and all that kind of stuff. And we're looking to solve a lot of large problems, but often our research doesn't do that. And because of that, we are looking for sort of bigger things and bigger and better things. And often that's hard to replicate some of those things. So being more humble with what we're doing, I think it's very important to sort of take that approach, and sort of downplay some of the stuff that we actually talk about and what we're trying to do. So why are we actually having this sort of replication crisis that's going on there? So this is my own thoughts. To me, I think a big part of it is actually the sort of morality, the values, and things like that are going on behind the scenes that we are not teaching in terms of what it takes to actually be a good researcher. And I'm going to say that this is really, 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 really hard, because I'm absolutely 1,000 times I understand the incentives that are in place for getting tenure and becoming a researcher and publishing and creating more publications and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely aware of it. But to me, I think a key component that we are thinking what we're missing about is a sort of component of teaching people about what it means to be a good person within the research community. And this is harder said than done. And I think a large component of this is feeling safe to do things that you think are wrong, or safe to openly discuss different things. That's where the whole transparency is going to come from, and the humility is going to come from, and the precision is going to come from, is telling people that you're okay with being who you are as an individual. So you are okay to be yourself, and you don't have to demonstrate that you're really smart and that you know everything and that the research is perfect. All of that kind of stuff, I think, is really driving a huge part of it. It's our own insecurities in terms of demonstrating to other people that we are these publishing machines, and that we have to, that we know everything and everything can be done perfectly. I think that's a huge component of this. I truly think that that's a big component, is the sort of, values and moral component that we're failing to teach. And that's part of what the whole Reciprocity Project, if you've seen what I'm talking about a lot of times, it is these things that are sort of the hidden or informal stuff that I see. Those are the things that actually, get traction on Google and YouTube and stuff like that. It's because those are really important that we're not talking about, and we're not openly talking about those kind of things. So, a corollary of this is to realize that you're okay with who you are. Being okay with who you are is perfect. And you're also okay to take time to do good research. Taking time to do good research, I think, is critical for all of us to realize that we don't have to rush through everything. And take that time to do it right is going to help a lot to do this, and to calm the sort of level down in terms of, we have to get this done. We have to go. All of that kind of stuff is what's driving a huge component of this replication crisis, I personally think. And then the other thing that I think we need to acknowledge is that you're a good person. If you're doing research at this moment, you have to realize that you're a good person, and you don't need to do a whole lot more beyond, you just have to realize that you're a good person, and that sort of push to demonstrate to other people that you are, superior, or you're going to be the top or whatnot. I think that's what's actually driving a huge component of this. I truly think that. And if we can get people to realize that you really don't need to be you don't have to be the top in any sort of way. And if you realize that, you can step forward and be okay with yourself, and you can slow it down. You can do things a lot more methodically and actually do good research by doing that. It's hard to do. I'm well aware of all of this. It's extremely hard to do, but you need to do that, to take the steps so that you methodically go through things and take the time to do the good research, just to keep pushing forward, so that you can show that everything is replicable and it's well done and stuff like that. That is critical for you to build up this morality that's going on inside of you, and realize that being a good person is really important, and it's very important for science in terms of what we are going to do going forward. So hopefully this helps you out in terms of how do you actually solve this replication crisis. I could have gone in to talk about all these sort of different methods and stuff like that, but I don't think that solves the problem. I really, truly don't, because somebody's going to figure out how to get around all those kind of things and demonstrate different things. Have a p-value, for example, that is going to be lower. We have a p-value of 0.0001 or whatever, all this sort of fancy stuff. Or get rid of p-values. That's not the critical issue. The critical issue is the sort of moral component behind it, and demonstrating to people and telling people that it's okay to be you. It's okay to have flaws and be open with those flaws in the paper and in general. And then we're not hiding anything then. I think that's the critical thing, is telling people, just be yourself. Be who you are, and be okay with that. So with that, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.